Blog Talk Radio.
What's going on, people? It's your boy, Long Beach Joe. I'm here for the people tonight. Listen, I'm flying solo, feeling good. Imagine me. I'm standing in front of you people right now. I'm staring you in the eyes, and I'm telling you, I am your captain. All right? I'm your captain tonight. This is going to be a great show. Get strapped in. Get ready. We're going to talk Jets. We're going to talk draft. We're going to talk Joe Douglas, and we're going to talk Sam Darnold. I want you folks to call in. I want to hear from the people tonight. I want the lines lit up. I want to hear your takes. 929-477-2651. Call in and give me what you got. I want to hear from everyone. But listen, as you folks know, I am the man of the people. I am here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote our Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search Let's Talk Jets Radio. Like that page. Our content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message us. We'll message you right back. We love going back and forth with folks about this football team. Also, leave us some feedback. We love hearing about what you folks think we do here on Let's Talk Jets Radio. So without further ado, I'm ready to get into the show. I am fired up. Listen, we got a lot to talk about. We're everywhere, Spreaker, iTunes. Hey, by the way, everyone, go on Spreaker. Thumbs up our show. We need those likes. Give us some comments. Let us know what you folks think about that on there. Of course, our Twitter, Talk Jets Radio. We're everywhere. Everywhere you want us to be, we are. Give us a listen. Let us know what you folks think. Also, go on our iTunes. Give us some feedback on there as well. So with all that in the past now, moving on, I wanted to talk about the draft. We just can't say, hey, we got something good, we got something going, let's ride this momentum into, whatever the offseason may be or become, and let's just be excited about, where the Jets could possibly go. We finally got a solid general manager. Let's see what happens. Now people are coming out saying Sam Darnold is on the clock. He's on the clock. Wow. I'm looking at this situation and saying, I'm confused by this notion now that Sam Darnold is on the clock simply because we drafted a wide receiver and a starting left tackle. To me, that's ridiculous. This team is still building, folks. This team is still building, and it wasn't being built correctly the first 3 years of Sam's career here. We've done everything so far to stunt his growth as a QB in this franchise. We switched the offensive scheme multiple times in the first years of his rookie year deal. We gave him next to no weapons before this draft. We've left him completely unprotected before free agency. We were getting him hit constantly last year. All that stuff was really thwarting his growth as a QB here. He took multiple shots last year. It was absolutely crazy. And the worst of it all, we brought in the QB killer, Adam Gase. It's insane. It's like, why is Darnold on the clock, but Gase isn't? I'm asking for a friend. Can anyone tell me why? This is the same guy who was sold to us as an offensive genius. He was sold to us as a guy, that could get the job done, that knew what he was doing at quarterback. He could turn the offense around. He's a genius. But he has shown us to be anything but that, man. He can't make an adjustment in-game or out of the game. He can't mold his system to elite players, elite talent like Le'Veon Bell, figure out a way to use him consistently or the best way that he can be utilized within the offense. Le'Veon Bell is probably one of the best or greatest weapons we've had in this franchise history. It's insane. But the worst of it all is that he can't seem to help Sam Darnold grow as a quarterback. He can't seem to understand how to do that. I look back in this past, and I'm looking back at the season, it seems like people are just forgetting that at one point, Sam had to come to him. Did anyone forget that it took Sam to come to him after weeks in the season of the offense being putrid? It took Sam to come to him and say, hey, look, this offense is not working. We need to change things up. We need to focus on what I do well so that we can succeed. It took Sam to go to his offensive genius of a head coach to say that for things to change. And I'm asking the people, shouldn't that be the other way around? Shouldn't the offensive genius approach the young QB to get things straightened out and figure out how to adjust the scheme to fit the young QB's strength? Shouldn't that be how it is? If an offensive genius sees a young QB struggling or sees an offense that was doing as as poorly as ours was last season, offensive genius step in and have that fixed immediately? I want you folks to ask yourself. You look at the list of offensive geniuses in the league. Andy Reid. Hell, let's use Doug Peterson, for example. Ask yourself, if Doug Peterson was our head coach, would our offense have been that bad with the same personnel? No. The reason why I'm using Doug Peterson is because I know some people are going to throw out the injuries we've had. Oh, there was a lot of injuries. Oh, there was guys missing here and there. Dougie Peterson faced more injuries than we did. He lost his starting QB, lost multiple weapons. At one point, I don't think he had a starting receiver, a receiver that started from the start of the season started in the game at one point. He was coming out with like 3 tight end sets. He was signing guys off the street and putting them in positions to make plays. And he still kept it rolling, and they were able to make the playoffs. Any of that stand in his way. He made sure the guys were prepared. He made sure that guys, were out there and knew what they were supposed to be doing. He made sure that he made adjustments in the games as well to what defenses were doing. He played to his offensive players' strengths. That's what we should be doing here. That's what Gage should have been doing. I just don't understand. What is going on here that all of a sudden, after one decent offseason, we're now pointing the gun at Sam Darnold and saying, if you don't put up astronomical numbers, you're done here. It's crazy. I'm putting the pressure where it belongs, damn it. I'm putting the pressure on Gage. Gage, you got in your way. You handpicked your GM, got Joe Douglas in here. He was literally the guy we handpicked for him. When we went out and we searched for GMs, after we got rid of McCagnon, we said, okay, who's the guy that can work with Gage? Who does Gage have a task with? That was 2 of the biggest things to get a guy in here. You went and you also handpicked your draft selections. And you got who you wanted so bad. Since you couldn't figure out how to use Le'Veon Bell, you went and got your Gage guys. Listen, I need Gage to take a step forward as a head coach. That's why I need to take a step forward. Because what some of you don't understand is, if Gage becomes a better head coach this year, if he's better at his job, if he's better at making adjustments, if he's better at play calling, if he's better at coaching guys up, if he's better with Darnold, then that inherently makes Darnold a much better QB. It'll make him a much better quarterback. The fact that he's getting the coaching that he needs will allow him to take a step forward. That's why bringing in coaches, especially in the situation that we were in when we had Sam, that's why we were saying, hey, Todd Bowles, not the guy. We need to move forward. We need to find the right guy to play Sam with so that Sam can grow, so that he can lead our franchise and take the next step. So I'm putting the blame where it squarely belongs. I'm putting the pressure where it's pressure on Sam as well to step it up. But to say that if Sam doesn't come out and throw for 1,000,000 yards, that he should be on the clock and be gone and the Jets should be looking for another quarterback, that's insane. That's insane when you look at what we've done so far, when we haven't put enough around him, when the coaching hasn't been there either. If the coaching is better, if we continue to move forward in that step, the players will be better. How many times this year do we talk about, hey, he's out there doing everything he can, but things are being failed? We can't continue to do that. We really, really can't. I'm putting the pressure where it belongs. I'm putting the pressure squarely on Adam Gase. He needs to stand up this year. I need to see him take a step forward, period, as a coach, point blank, period. So I'm going to talk to you folks about that as well. But I want to just touch on a little bit of the draft here before I get to the calls. I know we got some folks on the line again. 929-477-2651, okay? Call in. I need those lines lit up. I need to talk to y'all tonight. I know you folks have a ton of takes, and I can't wait to get to them because you already know, baby, I'm the man of the people. I stand for y'all, okay? We don't talk tonight. It's just me and you. Now, I just want to get into just a second rounder real quick. I want to talk about Mims because I thought that this was a great selection. Listen, we've been talking about this damn near all offseason. It was the 2 things we looked at that was probably one of our greatest needs, especially since we let Robbie go. Hey, we need a wide receiver. We need some guys for Sam to throw to. We need some targets. We can't have him out there with Minnie, Mo, and Jack. We got to have a guy he can go. Thought was a phenomenal move by Joe Douglas. this is a kid that I like. Big wide receiver. He can move. He's got a solid catch radius. I know people are talking about different things, different knocks on him, the drops. I don't think that that'll be as big a deal here with us. I think we have the wide receiver coaches that will be able to help him step up and grow into this situation. I've seen it again. I'm not trying to disrespect any Jets fans, but I see comparisons, just like I saw people trying to compare Sam Darnold to Mark Sanchez, and it used to have my head spinning. I've seen people try to, compare Mims to Stephen Hill. That is insane. Big and fast doesn't mean the same thing, okay? They are not the same wide receiver, okay? Mims has had, I think, at least 2,000-yard seasons. This guy can really be effective here if used correctly. This is going to be a big chance for him because I think he can come in and really give us some immediate impact because we're so in need at that position. This is a guy that I think could really become a big target here, particularly in the red zone with his size. He's a guy that can move as well. He's got some speed on him. So I expect him to really be utilized within this offense. And again, this is a guy that, Gaze looked at and was like, hey, this is a guy that really could get it done here. I need to see Mims come in and do his thing. But again, I also think that people need to keep in mind, too, that what we're dealing with out in this world, we all talking about the COVID thing, stuff like that. We might not have OTAs. We might not have training camps. We don't know really where the season's going to be. So that may affect some of these young guys as well. That may affect their practices, the abilities to get in the playlist, all these things, working with the staff. So we'll see how all that comes along. But let me tell you, this kid out of Baylor right here, I like him a lot. I really, really do. So I'm going to stop because I want to get to the people. I don't want to talk to myself all night. I can do that because I love the Jets. But I want to get to the people again. 929-477-2651. Go ahead and call in. He knows his Jets. He knows what he's talking about. I want to talk to Steve, man. I want to talk to Steve, and I can't wait. So, Steve, let's go ahead and get him on the line.
Hey, Joe, what's up?
What's going on, Steve? What's up, man? Hey, look, let's talk.
Hey,
welcome,
dude, how does it feel being by yourself? What happened to Tyson?
Oh, hey, man, Tyson's taking care of stuff that he's got to do. I'm flying solo tonight. It feels good, Steve. It feels damn good. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready for the light. I'm ready to shine, okay? I'm ready to bask in the glow of the people. That's what I'm here to do. So you get me all night tonight, okay? That's what. But to push that all aside, I want to talk to you about this draft, Steve. I know you were excited about it, as I was. I want to get your thoughts about this second-round pick in Mims and how you feel he can be utilized within this offense.
No, you were just saying this earlier tonight, Joe, how when we made that trade, and I got to be honest, because we came into this draft with 8 draft picks. We had 1 in round 1, 1 in round 2, 2 in round 3. We had 1 in round 4, 1 in round 5, and 2 in round 6. And what Joe Douglas did, which is honestly something that Mike McCagnon didn't really do well as a general manager, besides the Sam Darnold trade, was get more picks for the team. And you know what? And Joe Douglas and Adam Gase actually did come together, and they honestly knew what they liked. And what actually happened was when Joe Douglas talked about the 48th pick in his press conference, and Adam Gase said the same thing too. What happened was Seattle gave them a call, and Seattle was actually desperate for a player they wanted. And you know what? They made an agreement with Seattle, and Seattle said, okay. Gotta be honest, I guess the Seahawks and the Jets really like to make deals together. I gotta tell you that. But let me tell you, when Denzel Mims was still on the board, and when we were at number 59, now, my dad said this to me on Friday night when the draft, while it was going on. My dad, who was a Packers fan, who was on the show a couple years ago, he wanted Denzel Mims so bad. He wanted him for the Packers, and he actually told me that he had a feeling that he was going to go to the Jets. And my dad literally said that is a great target for Sam. That was actually my favorite draft pick. I mean, I did like the Mekhi Becton pick too, Joe, but I absolutely love the Denzel Mims pick. And when I watched his highlights, he could be a future maybe number 1 receiver, but we'll see what he does, Denzel Mims.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Steve. I think he's a guy that can definitely step in. I think the door is kind of open right now. We don't have that number one impact because it's there for him. He's going to have the targets. He's going to have the plays. If he comes in, man, and gets that book under him, and again, with all that we're dealing with this offseason, if he can get, something under him, maybe a couple practices, things that we got to do, man, he can be inserted, and I really think that he can absolutely light it up because the door is open for him. But I know we're talking about Mims, but I also want to get your thoughts on the selection of Ashton Davis. This was, for some fans, I saw some fans scratching their head going safety in the third round. Did you kind of question that at all, Steve?
Here was the thing. Yes, I do understand where the fans are coming from because despite the fact that we have Jamal Adams and Marcus May on the team, but listen, I got to be honest with you, though. When I watch this kid's highlights, I mean, the kid goes to California, so obviously you've had to see him play while you watch USC football on Saturdays. And I got to be honest with you, when I watch this kid, this guy looks like a great player. And here are some two things. The kid can play cornerback, which is something that we need, and he can also be a future kick returner, because they did say on his resume that he can return kicks. And also, from what I heard, he was also a track star. And the guy is fast. I actually like the Ashton Davis pick. But here was the thing. But now, Joe, I wanted to get your thoughts on this, man, because I want to ask you a question. I wanted to ask you, were you happy about the Mekhi Becton pick? Did you like the pick, or do you think they should have gotten the other offensive lineman that went to Tampa Bay?
Yeah, that's a great question, Steve, and that's why I love talking to you, man, because you know your stuff, you know your Jets. Listen, I like shocked that they didn't go with Wirfs, because honestly, personally, I didn't think Wirfs would ever be there. Any draft, anything that I had done, if anyone, watches our YouTube as well, I had done, pre-draft shows, I just kind of took him off my board. I didn't think he'd be there at all. Yeah. But seeing how everything played out, like I said, my guy was Andrew Thomas, but, he was the first tackle off the board. No issues. I understand why the Giants took him. But as he continued to slide down, I said, Wirfs, Becton, boom, they selected Becton. I didn't have a big problem with it. I know there were other fans that did. No knock on them. I know some people really loved him. But I thought that Mekhi Becton was a solid selection. This is a dude that comes in.
No, it was. And here was the thing.
He can be a mauler. And he's gigantic as well, Steve.
No, he is. No, you know what people were making a joke about, too? They all said after drafting Mekhi Becton in the second round, we need to draft his father next. Because his father is a big dude, too. Like, his father is a big dude. Dude, everyone was saying that on Twitter. I wanted to ask you this.
That guy looked like he could be, a solid right guard for us. I ain't gonna lie. Mekhi Becton's dad, with all due respect, that dude looks like he could be a solid right guard for us, and he could absolutely open some holes for Le'Veon Bell.
Okay. Yeah. Now, Joe, I wanted to now get your thoughts on the other picks. Now we got to go to round number 4. What were your thoughts of picking LaMichael Pirine?
Oh, listen, Pirine, love the guy. Love the guy. Let me tell you. This was a pick. This was a pick that I thought was. I thought it was a very good pick, and it's 2 reasons. One, this is a guy that can come in and help spell with Le'Veon Bell. This is a guy that can come in, catch the football. He can run as well. He can do a lot of things within the offense. So I'm looking at the situation hey, Pirine's a guy that can do exactly what we need, especially when you look at our running back depth and there's next to nothing there. You know what I'm saying? Le'Veon can't play every single snap. He can't.
No, Le'Veon
Adam Gase don't use him anyway, so he ain't gonna play. He ain't gonna play many snaps either way. But Pirine is definitely a guy that can come in, catch the football. And I know the knock for some fans was that he's slow. He's not slow. If you watch the games, this dude was running and pulling away from people. He's got some move on him. So he may have not ran a great 40 time at the combine, but dude, with pads on, he's a mover and he's a shaker.
Yeah. No, now I want to ask you this, because the Jet fans are concerned with this. Our second pick is round number 4. Now, let me ask you this. Were you surprised when the Patriots gave us those picks to let the Jets get 3 picks in round 4? Because out of all the teams to do that, New England ends up doing that for us.
Mm-hmm. Well, of course, you're always shocked anytime we do anything with the Patriots because of our relationship with them. But I think that just shows the level of general manager that we have here, where Joe Douglas is like, look, any team that I could do a deal with, whether it be the Patriots or whoever else, if you can benefit us, then fine. Hey, we can do a deal. And if you can't, well, it is what it is, and I'll move on and continue to do what I'm doing. So I like the move. Okay. I thought it was a quality move. I thought it was a solid move for us to pick up a fourth. But I want to ask you a question, though. I want to ask you a question, Steve, because you asked quite a bit of questions. I want to get your thoughts on the edge that we picked third round, though. Jabari Zungia. What do you think that he'll bring, man? And do you think he feels a need?
Well, the only thing that Jet fans did have a problem with him was he does have issues with his ankle, but he definitely does look like that he could be a good potential pass rusher that could definitely help out with Jordan Jenkins as well. Because, Jordan Jenkins was our best pass rusher last year, and I think he could definitely really be a good pickup. But now I wanted to get the chance to finally ask you this. With the second pick in the fourth round that the Jets did, they selected the quarterback from Florida International of James Morgan. Yeah. Now, to me, now I wanted to get your thoughts on that because now it's a competition now between him and David Fowles in the backup quarterback position.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, to me, I understand, the importance of backup QB. I understand, especially when you look at the history of Joe Douglas, used at the Eagles. Of course, backup quarterback play would be important to him. That's one of the reasons why they won a Super Bowl. That team was still able to be held by a solid backup. I understand you want to bring in some competition for Fales. It's a guy you draft. You think he's a guy that, can use some solid production there. With that said,
then the last.
I started scratching my head. Hold on a second, Steve. Hold on a second, Steve. No, it's okay. I understand. You're excited. I'm excited, too. I get it. But my whole deal is this. The needs that's on this football team, especially when you talk about wide receiver. And I'm saying to myself, you look at this whole draft. We only drafted one wideout. I know there's some undrafted free agent guys. We'll get to them later. But, again, we're talking about this draft, just the picks. You only take one wide receiver. There were guys there in the fourth that I thought was, could really step in and maybe give us some help. And you go QB instead of, some of the other needs. Again, I'm not bashing Joe Douglas. I think it was a solid draft. But for me, that was the only thing where I was thinking, instead of that QB, why not take another wide receiver? Or, hell, why not take another edge guy where we can get another pass rusher, take a shot at another guy, that's going to come in and give us some competent pass rushing. That was the only thing that I was wondering. And so that leads me to my question for you as well, Steve, though. That leads me to my question for you as well is, like I just said, we only took one wide receiver in this draft. Are you surprised by that, man? Did you think that we would get more than one wide receiver?
I was a little surprised. I think the Jets should have picked another wide receiver because I think it would have definitely brought in a little bit of more help, with our receiving core that we have. But with the undrafted free agents, we'll see what happens with them too. But now the last pick that they did in round number 4, Joe, was when they got the guy Cameron Clark from Charlotte. The offensive tackle. What did you think of that pick?
Yeah, I thought it was a solid pick, Steve. I thought it was a decent guy that can come in. This is a guy that you can either, come in and be the part of your depth as well. You can groom him. I don't know if he competes immediately for the right tackle spot. Maybe he does. I've heard, some analysts say maybe we slide him into a guard spot. Maybe he can play some guard. So maybe he'd be a fit at the right guard spot. So I don't have any problem with us taking a flyer on an offensive lineman in the fourth, seeing what he can bring in. He looks like a solid guy. So we'll see what he can do. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, no, it definitely was a good pickup because offensive line was definitely a key for the draft for us, which we did address, and I was glad that Joe Douglas, of course, we had the one when we traded to the Colts. In round 5, the Jets took cornerbacks. Now, I know Tyrone was so thrilled because I know Tyrone is a big West Virginia guy. I think he went to West Virginia or Virginia, and that was Bryce Hall. What did you think of that pick?
Yeah. I thought it was a solid pick as well. This is a guy that I think can come in and really give us some impact. He was a guy that actually looked decent before the injury. Now, that's my only concern with him is he does have an injury history. I think he had surgery on one of his ankles. And so if that ankle can hold up, I think we have a solid corner, especially when you look at our cornerback situation where we brought in Pierre Desir. We also traded for Wilson as well with the Colts. But that number 2 quarterback spot is open. Brian Poole's a solid, slot guy, but we could always use guys, for depth as well. So who knows? Maybe he comes in if that ankle holds up. He could be decent here, man. I think he could have some impact immediately because there's so many spots open at that cornerback position. I mean, what are your takes on it?
Okay. No, I thought it was a good pickup because, the cornerback position was one of the biggest needs that they did need on the defensive side of the ball because last year our passing defense was not good. So hopefully, with all the stuff that Joe Douglas has brought in this year, it's definitely going to be a pickup. But now the last pick that they did was before they made that trade to get Quincy Wilson, which people did like at first. Some people were thinking, maybe we got T.Y. Hilton in that trade. But honestly, I knew we weren't going to get T.Y. Hilton in that trade because there was no way we were going to give that to us and then they were going to give us T.Y. Hilton in exchange. There was no way anyone was going to do that. But the Quincy Wilson pickup was a nice pickup because that does help our corner position. But then the last pick of our draft, the Jets decided to go for punter. Now, were you shocked that the Jets went for a punter?
No, I'm not. And I don't think anybody else should be either. Lachlan Edwards is a guy that is not on the roster right now. You need somebody to fill that spot. And I know people are going, well, punter. Dude, that field swing that you can get from a punter that is a coffin kicker, a guy that can pin teams inside to 10, that's going to be huge for us. Especially when we get our offense. If you look last year, hold on a second, Steve. When you look back last year, there were times where our offense was struggling and our defense was really holding up. It was holding up because, you want to make sure you get a solid kick in there. You can pin those teams in there. It really helps your defense as well, your special teams overall. So I like the selection. This is a guy that won the Ray Guy Award, too. According to a bunch of analysts, everything I've read, he's one of the better punters, in the draft. So I really like the selection, and I like the fact that they were able to attack a need as well. I mean, what do you think that his leg will give us, Steve?
No, I got to be honest. When I actually read in the draft, he was actually the best punter into the draft. And here was the thing: I knew the Jets were not going to re-sign Lachlan Edwards back because I think the Jets were ready to move on from him. And I think for us to get a punter was actually a really solid move. And you know what, Joe? I got to be honest. Comparing to the last couple of years when McCagnon has done the draft, what Joe Douglas has done, general manager, is really supposed to do. And you know what? I think I have to give Joe Douglas a lot of credit from what he did, and especially for us to get more picks and to get, a couple of players. And, when teams called in and when the Jets weren't interested in picking, we ended up getting a nice exchange. So I guess my final question to you about the draft is, if you had to give the Jets a final draft grade, what would you give them?
Yeah, honestly, Steve, I'd give him a B+ to an A. I think he addressed a lot of needs, and it's crazy. You brought up one of the points that I was going to make as well is if you look at Joe Douglas's draft, you talked about the difference between him and McCagnon. I think it's because Joe Douglas really addressed quite a bit of needs. And he was still able to make moves, especially, and I really don't think that people understand how masterful, especially that trade down, and still being able to get Mims in the second round. Still being able to make that happen, how big that was. Because if you look back at our past drafts, McCagnon would trade down, he'd get fleeced, and he would lose the guy he was targeting. Or he just would target somebody else and completely, not fill a need. So we go into the draft with needs, and we come out with pretty much the same needs, and we'd all be scratching our heads going, man, what happened here? Like, how did we not address the positions that we needed to address in this draft? And you just collect all these picks and get all these guys. So I think that Joe Douglas did a very solid job, and bravo, hats off to him. I know moves are still going to be made, and again, the team is still being built, but I like what he did. But my question for you, Steve, before I let you go is, what do you think was the steal of the draft? If you had to name a player, who do you think was the steal of the draft for the Jets?
Yeah, no, before I do say that, Joe, I do want to give my final grade before I say that. If I would have to give the Jets a final grade, I would just give them an A. Jets did exceptionally well in the draft. The only reasons why I would not give them a perfect score is because I think they should have drafted another wide receiver. But the one thing that Joe Douglas did, which was so solid, he went for the position that this team needed. And everything so far he did was right. But now the next thing has to be focusing on the next one who's got to do their job right is Adam Gase. Because here's the thing. Yep. I'm not an Adam Gase lover either, but I will give Adam Gase another chance this year. If Adam Gase doesn't prove himself this year, then they got to move on from him. But I guess now going to the steal of the draft, the big steal to me has to go with Denzel Mims. It's just the way how we got those picks and the way how we got to Denzel Mims was incredible. And Denzel Mims even said in his interview when he watched Sam Darnold's highlights, he actually really likes what Sam Darnold does. And here was the thing, when that pick was announced, I went crazy when that pick was announced. I went completely nuts, like how you did 2 years ago when we took Sam Darnold. Joe, I love that video. I love that video of you.
Well, thanks, Steve. Look, hey, we got our guy. I'm still excited about Sam. I'm hoping that we continue to build with him.
I know you would have loved it if we got Pittman, though. But unfortunately, he ended up going. But listen, the one thing you got to be happy about, he went to a team, that the Jets have respect for, and that's the Indianapolis Colts. That's something you should be happy for him for.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I didn't think that Pittman would be there either way, but man, if we could have got him, I would have been elated. But listen, Steve, I got to let you go. Thank you for calling in, man. You absolutely
thank you, Joe. Joe, I got to tell
you,
you did a great job, Joe. And sometimes it actually is nice having the show without Tyson.
Hey, Steve, it is what it is. I'm here for you. That's what it's all about. We're just talking Jets.
That's why
man.
You're
So
the man
thanks
of the
again
people.
for calling. Absolutely, Steve.
All right,
Thank
Joe,
you for
have a good night. Bye-bye.
All right, you have a good one, Steve. Man, Steve, listen, shout out to Steve. Thank him for calling in. He called in wheeling and dealing, man. Wheeling and dealing. So we're going to keep it rolling. I'm going to keep hitting these lines again, people. 929-477-2651. Call in, share your takes. I want to hear from you. I know our lines are packed. Believe me, I'm going to move through. I'm going to keep getting through. I know everyone wants to give us their draft takes. I want to hear from every single one of you passionate Jets fans. I am here for the people, and I want to talk to you folks. So, Kev, let's go ahead and get to James. I want to talk to James from Nevada. I want to hear from him right now.
Joe, how you doing? Good to talk to you. Obviously, really excited about the draft. It's just incredible that we were able to fill as many holes as we did, and it's nice to see you starting to warm up to my guy Joe Douglas a little bit. I'm not gonna lie though. When we took Becton over Wars, I didn't really like that move at first. At first glance, I'm thinking, okay, I get Becton is a raw, incredible act. His upside's huge. But the kid's only been playing football for a few years. He still has a big learning curve. And I'm not big on bringing guys in while, they're learning on your dime, And that kind of has me concerned. And in the past, when we've really, thought, these great physical specimens, I get really, really bad nightmares of Vernon Gosens and Vladimir Ducasses, these guys that we failed to develop, right? So, you said earlier, this is Adam Gase now. This is Frank Pollock, and the offensive staff. Can they get Becton up to speed? But if we can get him going, we got ourselves a road raider who's going to benefit Le'Veon Bell incredibly. Going throughout the draft board, I know you're an SC guy, seeing Ashton Davis, watching SC against Cal. Ashton Davis is someone that he did flash to me. The kid's got speed, he's got instinct, and he's smart, right? He puts his guys in the right place. I think he's going to fit really well here. And just going throughout the draft, getting the ball. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Jane. Look, I know. First off, I want to thank you for calling in. I love talking to you. You know what I'm saying? SC guys, that's all we got to say. Trojans, you know what I'm saying? Let's go. You already know how it is. You know what I'm saying? Hey, listen, fight on, fight on. You know what I'm saying? I'm solo. Trojan Town up in here. You know what I'm saying? We talk Darnold. We talk SC guys. You know what I'm saying? It's SC, it's USC or nothing. All right? So we're locked in there. All right? But I want to go back to Becton for a second. I know we're going to touch all these draft picks. Like I said, I love talking to you. I understand what you're saying about Becton. I understand there was a lot of other, fans as well that I went back and forth with that talked about how raw he was. But my thing is this. A lot of offensive linemen, a lot of, these athletes, period, whatever position they play, usually come to the NFL with things that they need to refine, skill sets that they could always get better, and a lot of that, again, is going to go to coaching. So I understand saying he's a little raw here and there. I think he can get coached up and be very solid. Like you said, I think he's a road grader. His run blocking is going to be something serious. This guy he's extremely strong, dude. And that was huge for me. And that's why I said I wanted to go offensive line, fairly heavy, especially pre-draft was because, look, I understand that there's a need for Sam Darnold to stay upright and not get killed. But there's a guy that people were raving about last offseason. I think his name was Le'Veon Bell. And we signed him, and we gave him a bunch of money. You know what I'm saying? And there was next to no holes for him to run through it, particularly early in the season, especially when we played the Browns. You go back and watch that game, he's running. It's like 3 guys on him once he gets the handoff. That shouldn't be happening no more, especially when we're going to run left behind Mekhi Becton. So I like that. But my concern with him, though, James, and I want to get your thoughts on this, man, because a lot of people aren't necessarily talking about this now, is in college, there was a lot of concerns about his weight. Are you concerned about those weight issues kind of creeping into the NFL, or do you think that, our coaching staff and our facility is going to be able to put him on a solid diet plan where he's going to be all right?
You know what? I think that they can. I think they can get him on a good, meal plan, preps, get his weight down. But, I mean, obviously the kid likes to eat. His mom's a chef. Being in New York City, there's tons of, it's the epicenter of food, right? Like, a lot of great things going on there. But, I do think we have the guys in place to get him where he needs to be and support him. I think he's going to be fine there. I'm not really worried about his weight issues. And he is going to have to trim down, and he is going to have to be able to have that explosion and that, and that quick, ability to get, get on to his blocks and move on, move up. He's going to need that. I think we have what we need. And like you said, though, it comes down to Adam Gase, though. Like, is he going to do his job and make sure guys are being supported, that they're being developed? That's my concern, right? Like, when you have Tristan Wirfs sitting there, I think he could come in day one, and you don't really have to worry a whole lot about him. But with Becton, you are going to have to develop this kid, and that's where I have a question mark with Adam Gase. I just don't know. I don't see that with Gase, and I didn't see that in Miami, him developing players. So I do have some red flags about that. But I do think we have, I do think we have enough in place to get Becton on the right track, the right plane, and now we're going to have to see what happens. And supporting Le'Veon Bell, that's such a huge move. He's going to be a vital cog to our offense. Obviously, it's going to support Sam Darnold too. Knowing that Sam can pick and choose where he can get those sweet spots, and we can support him. That's going to be huge for us. Really excited about that, and but it does scare me. Becton, he's only been playing football for a handful of years. He has a lot to learn, and he's raw. And some of his pass work is gonna, he's not gonna be. And I know people, oh my God, did you see him throwing guys around? I'm like, this is not the ACC anymore. When you're going against Buffalo and New England, no, that's not the ACC. He's not going to be throwing guys around. But he is a physical specimen, and you have to have a smile on your face. And one of my concerns was when I seen Trent Williams going to San Francisco and what he went for. That kind of made me a little frustrated too. Like, what? Like, we couldn't have done that. Like, I mean, in a perfect world, I'm going to give this draft class a solid B+. But in a perfect world, I would have gone and grabbed Trent Williams as well. So you can move Mekhi Becton on to the right. That is what I would have done. But, whatever. This draft class was impressive. We were able to get good value where we were. Getting Denzel Mims, when I called a few weeks ago, I actually thought, in my opinion, he was the third best wide receiver in this draft. And the thing that separates him from other guys is, he's got that speed, right? But his relentlessness for the football. When you watch him on tape, he does not give up on the ball. Where, sometimes you've seen Robbie Anderson, if the route wasn't there, he would dog it, or he would slow down, or go out of bed. No, that's not Denzel Mims. He's going to go and fight for the football, and that's what you got to love, giving Sam Darnold a weapon like that. So, hey, you know what, throw it up, and I'm going to go get you. I'm going to go get it. And we didn't, really have that, and all of this really comes down to Adam Gase. I can't agree more with what you said to open the show. Adam Gase has to do his job, make sure we're, we have options, and we're doing, we're continually improving, and we can, be flexible and evolve, and throughout the season, regardless of injury, regardless of that, whatever it is, Adam Gase has to get these guys ready to go, and we're going to hold our breath and see what happens ultimately. But, you got to be happy with these draft picks, especially, I don't know if we're the New York Gators now or what. We have so many Florida Gators on the squad now. But you know what? I'm not going to, that's fine. Jabari Zanega, this guy is a beast, right? Like, the way he can get right off the line, the way he can attack. And I went back and forth to people. People compare him to Polite from last. No. That's what Jeff fans have to understand. This guy is not Polite at all. He is a beast.
Exactly. One second. I'm sorry. Yeah, and look, I'm right there with you. And I heard a lot of those comparisons as well, James. I know we're spitting and giving our takes. I heard a lot of those comparisons as well. Oh, he's polite. Oh, he's this. And it's like, dude, no, it's not. If you listen to all of his coaches and everything, they say this guy's a high-character guy. And that's the thing about this Joe Douglas draft as well that a lot of people are not talking about. He took a lot of guys that were team captains, a lot of high-character guys. And that translates to the NFL because guess what? There are going to be games when you're going to come in and just things aren't going to go right. Things are going to go awry. You might be down. And you're going to have to fight. You're going to have to test your mental fortitude. And you have a guy who's a high-character guy. Instead of completely blowing up the situation and the team falling apart because you got a bunch of me guys that are pointing fingers at everybody else saying, you're to blame, you're to blame, you're to blame. You got guys who are going to look internally and say, okay, no more blame. We're going to all step up. We're going to rise together. That really bodes well for the team. We've seen teams be down before in games, 20, 30 points, be able to look within, step up, and say, okay, we're fight. Come back and win games. So we need that type of attitude here, especially when you're talking about guys that you need to lead as well, because that's what we need on this team as well. We need more leaders. We need guys who are going to say, of course, we got guys like Adams and Sam Darnold, but, dude, you can never have enough leaders. You can never have enough guys that are going to be able, again, to step up and call on the next man and help them too. So I thought that was big as well. But I want to get to Zungia because you touched on a lot of stuff, that he's big, he's powerful. But are you concerned about his injuries throughout college and his past with injuries? Because I know that a lot of fans were looking at it like he could give us something or he could be a guy that is constantly on that injury report. I mean, does that concern you?
A little bit. It does concern me. And that's why he's hanging around where he was, right? If you take the injuries away, this guy's going late first round, second round, all day, every day. The injuries are a concern, but that's going to come down to our medical personnel. I know we have some good people there. And if we can keep these guys on the right track, keep them healthy, I mean, we got ourselves a steal. This kid, he can play inside, outside. And I like what he can, if they put him opposite, Jordan Jenkins, you can line these guys inside out. That's kind of hard, when you're on offense and you don't know what they're going to be doing. So that does bring added value. I do like that. And obviously Quincy Wilson coming in, he's not a scrub, okay? I know the Colts may have given up on him. This guy's not a scrub. I think he's going to come in, and just to see this revamped quarterback group as a group, I mean, prior to the draft, we're, oh my gosh, holding our breath, going crazy. But now we have some depth and some flexibility there. And, secondary in a whole, that's one thing we can kind of move on away from. And, you just really got to be happy with where this group is. And the last guy I want to touch on is Michael P. Ryan. I don't know. When I see him, I instantly think Lamont Jordan. Like, when you see how powerful he is and the way he can get up the field, he can just battle and climb. I don't know if all Jet fans are going to know that name. But that is exactly what I seen when I really took a look at him. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's got the ability to hit the hole and come out of it. It doesn't matter. He's bouncing off of guys. I just think Lamont Jordan. I'm like, oh wow, you know what I mean? So I'm really excited for him. Just this whole draft. It just felt like a big boy draft for once, right? Like we're getting.
Yeah, it did. It felt like a draft where we went in with needs and we addressed many of them instead of just kicking the can down the street, maybe getting a guy here, trading down, getting a bunch of picks, and not really addressing things that we needed to address. I felt like Douglas came out with a concise plan, again, was still able to trade down, make some massive trades, gain more capital, and then turn that into players at positions that we needed. That was one of the, we got guys in the third round, and I know we were talking about Zuniga, but I want to talk to you about Ashton Davis, because you kind of touched on it a little bit. Like, we're FC guys, so we watch this dude flies around. I know you know that. This dude flies around, and he lays the lumber. I mean, he's hitting people, but as we saw as well when we watched, dude, he plays everywhere. You got dime safety, strong safety. He's got free safety. Some people saying he might play some cornerback here. And I want to get your thoughts on him and how Greg Williams might use him. Are you looking forward to, seeing Greg do more 3 safety sets with him involved in that, or do you think that he's a better fit maybe playing corner?
I think having him in those nickels as a third safety is going to be huge. He does have the ability to give us cornerback help, which is a huge, plus for us. But I do see him more as a third safety, which is, that's kind of the way of the NFL now. You got to have different corners, different safeties who can tackle and they can get to place to place. And he's smart, Joe. This kid is smart. Like when you see him at camp, he's lining guys up, getting guys in the right place. And he knows what's coming, too, so he does his homework. And the kid, he contributes on special teams as well. Oh, my goodness. You know what I mean? He's just sitting there like, oh, wow. So I'm really excited for Ashton Davis. He's got an incredible story. I really like him. But I do see him as more as that third safety who can kick down the corner in a pinch. If we have, a bunch of guys going out, injured, whatever, he can support that. But I do see him at safety. And just having a multi-dimensional player. When's the last time you've seen a Jets get a guy like that? Hey, you know what? You need me at safety, I'll play safety. You need me at corner, I'll play corner. You need me to play special teams, I'll play. The Jets just in the past have never had enough guys who do that, right? So to get someone like him is just, For me, in my opinion, I think Davis was the steal of the draft for us. Just to have a multi-dimensional player. And this safety, he can hit, he can fly, he can, and that speed, that closing speed, oh my goodness. Yeah, we really, I think, we got to go.
It's insane. Watching him fly around, it was like, man, and then seeing us being able to select him where he was, I was like, wow, this dude, I remember watching this dude fly around and just absolutely, lay guys out. I mean, he can lay hits, but like we said as well, he's a Swiss Army knife. This guy can be moved around so much. But I also got to think, especially with the selection, do you think that Ashton Davis is kind of insurance policy, in case we lose, Jamal, or because say they pay Jamal Adams the deal that he's looking for, do you really want to invest that much money in the safety position with all the other needs we have? So he may also be an insurance policy for Marcus May. What are your thoughts on that, man?
Well, as a former safety, you know what I'm going to say? No, you can't have too many of them. But as like a logical football person, no, that is a lot to invest in the safety group. Yeah, and that does give us some flexibility. If we can't strike something on Jamal, we're not just going down the cliff, right? Like our secondary is still going to stay alive with a guy like Ashton Davis. So I agree with you. Yeah, he does provide us an insurance if we have to move one of those guys. And that's got to be worst case scenario because, Joe, if you have all 3 of these guys at the same time on the field, good luck. Because they're rangy, they're fast, they can come inside, outside, blitz. Oh my gosh, you know what I mean? That's a lot to deal with. I mean, worst case scenario is we can't get something done on Jamal and we have to move him, which I love him all, but. He is going to provide that insurance policy, but the upside of having all 3 of them, forget it. I mean, when you're in offense, that is not something you want to deal with. Having Big Q breathing down your neck or Zanega now coming, jeez Louise. Man, this defense, I'm sorry, Joe, but this defense, I'm salivate. I want to see what this defense does when everybody's healthy and out there and you bring a C.J. Mosley in. One of the things I didn't really like about this draft is A.J. Williams. Like, I would have ideally liked to have moved him, but I don't know what the deal is with him. Like, if we're just going to outright release him. To me, I thought A.J. Williams was an outstanding football player. When he's here, he's on it. I was surprised we couldn't get a deal done, at least to get another 5th-round pick or a 6th-round pick for Avery. Now, I don't know if his salary was too much. I don't know. But what are you thinking there? Do you think that someone was just going to drop?
Yeah, I'm like I said, and I've talked about this multiple times. He's a guy that I'd like to see kick the tires on, kind of see what he has. I'd love to bring him back. I'd love to, keep him go into the season and see what he can give us, because I think he'll return from that injury and be able to give us solid production. I know we got some guys in there inside linebacker, but if he can come in and be the Avery Williams that we saw before, he's better. Outside of Mosley, he's better than any other inside linebacker that we have. So why break that? Yeah, why break that tandem up? Especially when you look at some of the other things that we've done defensively. I think that he can do that, but we'll see going forward what happens. Cuts can still happen. There's still moves that could be made. Maybe there's a trade in the works. Who knows? But he's a guy that I would definitely like to keep on the roster going forward. But I want to get your thoughts on this as well, man, because as we go through this draft, Morgan was a guy that was picked up, in the fourth. And I know that some fans were scratching their heads about this. They were saying, a quarterback in the fourth round? Like, what's going on here? What were your thoughts about that, James?
I like the pick. I really like the pick. If you watch him, he has all the intangibles. He's big, strong. He can wing the ball down the field. I think he's going to be great insurance for Sam Darnold. And who knows? You know what I mean? Like, maybe you can flip him into a second-round pick somewhere down the road. This is a good quarterback. He is a savvy quarterback. And I think, he's going to be a great support structure, for Sam Darnold, someone that could come in. And to me, he's going to help compete with Sam Darnold, too, because, I love Sam. I love Sam. But sometimes I feel like we just gave him the job sometimes. And now when Sam's out there, in mini camp and training camp, looking over his shoulder, seeing Morgan throwing some of those bombs, Sam's going to have to bring it a little bit more now. So you're going to have that competitiveness, not just week one, but before that, into training camp, where Sam's going to have to be like, oh, man, I better, I better do my thing. And Sam's fully capable. And I agree. I'm tired of people, prove it, Sam, this and that. You know what? We have not done enough to support this kid at all. Yeah, you know what? We have not done, the Jets have failed Sam Darnold and getting him protection, offensive line weapons. He just hasn't had enough to succeed, right? This kid has time. I mean, anybody can put on the tape from last year. When Sam has time, he is making throws. He's making good decisions. He will turn it over occasionally. But you know what? That's got to be on Adam Gase more than anything, putting his quarterback in a position to make plays. And one of the things that is, when I see the offense and I see, they try to compare him to Peyton Manning and you know what? No. You got to stop comparing him to other quarterbacks. Sam Darnold is the very first of his kind, right? And we need to fulfill what he can do. We need to give him support, offensive line, whatever it is. Exactly. I know we could have done a better job getting him receivers, but you can't just put everything on Sam Darnold. He's not Mark Sanchez. He's not Geno Smith. He's not whoever. You know what I mean? He's not Colt McCoy, any of those guys, right? He's not Joe McElroy. No, he's Sam Darnold, and we need to support him. And that's a fact. When he has time, he will get us to where we need to go. And he's not the kind of kid who's going to blow games. If anything, when the game's close, that is the. So for people to say, "Oh yeah, Sam," that's just utter complete nonsense.
Yeah, it is
my opinion.
as well, James. Yeah, and I hear you, and I'm right there with you. And it's because when I hear people talk about, especially when they're talking about the system with Adam Gase, it's like, okay, look, every offensive coordinator, every good offensive coordinator, whatever their system is, they look at the weaknesses and the strengths of their personnel, mainly their quarterback as well, and they say, okay, how can I have my system fit what they do well? If you look at what the Ravens have done, with Lamar Jackson, dude, they've done a masterful job of that. If you take Lamar Jackson and try to put him into some like Peyton Manning, or some archaic Peyton Manning offense, look, Peyton Manning's a great quarterback, but that's not Lamar Jackson. Yeah, Lamar Jackson can throw the ball. He's got a great arm, but he's also got great feet as well. That's what makes him so dangerous, too. He can burn you both ways. So why would you not utilize certain things to try to, pigeonhole him into something? No, you take his strengths, whatever they are, and you make that a part of your scheme. You call plays to build on those strengths to keep moving forward, because guess what? That's going to do nothing but bode well for your offense. It's going to do nothing but bode well for the growth of your QB, because he's going out there feeling confident, knowing, hey, I can do this and I do this well, and we're going to attack him this way. And I just don't understand why people don't see that. They don't see. I mean, hell, there wasn't even just reports. Adam Gase came out and said it himself that Sam came up to him and said, listen, this offense is not working. We need to change it up. So that simple fact is like, come on, man, you guys have got to get off of Sam's back. I understand people want production. I get it. But you have to set the table if you want a quarterback to eat. You have to give him certain things. And up until this point, we haven't done enough to help him. Like you said as well, James, we failed him, not just with players to protect or weapons, but also with scheme as well. But that's got to change going forward, dude. We can't keep going down this muddy road, James.
No, and we have to. You see Sam, he gets the ball out of his hands quickly when you know what I mean.
Yep.
So I do like they have all these tight ends now for him. He can go and get those mid-level throws or those high percentage throws. That is what you do. You feed him. You get him in the rhythm. You don't have him sitting there trying to throw bombs every play. That's not his game.
Mm-hmm.
And for Adam Gase not to know that, it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
This is, for me, this season is all on Adam Gase. If he comes out there and the offense looks lost again, adios, Gase. You know what I mean? But what I think is going to happen, I think Sam and his defense, they're gonna hide Adam Gase quite a bit. And you see some of the things, you know what I mean? That's kind of what we've seen when we went down the stretch and we were 6-2. You know, people were going, well, Adam Gase. No. I think Sam and Greg Williams, they hide, Adam Gase and his deficiencies sometimes. But we need Adam Gase to fix this offense. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
I hear you, James, but if it walks like a skunk, it talks like a skunk, smells like it's a
not
skunk,
a rooster.
You can't hide.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not. It's a damn sure ain't a rooster. And a damn sure ain't a pit bull either. Listen, if you're ranked 32nd in the league in offense, something's going on here. What I mean? Something's got to go on here. The play calling, somewhere things are falling apart. So yeah, the defense did carry us quite a bit, but there was still something that was stinking there. So my last question for you, though, is when you look at this draft, Braden Mann, a punter that was selected in the 6th round, I know a lot of fans are looking around like, do we really need a punter? What are your thoughts on that selection, man, and how do you feel he'll be able to fit what this team needs?
One word. Remember the days of Ryan Quigley's and just complete nonsense? No.
Yeah.
No. Mann is the man. This guy he's gonna pin you. He's gonna boot those bombs. Those very valuable pick. Very underrated, very valuable pick. Obviously, he's the best punter in the draft. I think he's going to change the special team unit. And we have speed now, right? We've added those Gators, all those Florida kids that are going to be here now. They're going to have speed on special teams. Being able to pin teams back and letting this defense go, I think that's going to help us get turnovers on defense. I think it was an incredible selection. And, I did think Locke Edwards, I did a few times last year. I thought he was starting to come along. But, you know what, you need to go for that surefire thing, and we need that help because, we still have some holes in this team, and we have Adam Gase in the offense that maybe, who knows what. We have to be, surefire on special teams. I love that pick. I think it's going to pay dividends for us week 1. I think we're going to see a big difference in special team, abilities, and, I think Mann's outstanding pick. Honestly, you could have made an argument. Somebody could have picked him in the 5th round, right? And when they compare him to who was it? The Raiders' old punter, Shane Leckler. You're like, you know what I mean? If you could get half of that. Ooh. Exactly. If you get that, you are going to be in good shape. So no, I love that pick. I think it feels like a new day, you know what I mean? I feel really encouraged with this draft class. I know we have a few guys, and that's on us. That's on Adam Gase now. They're going to have to develop these guys and make sure these guys are healthy. But if these guys play up to their abilities, man, we're going to be something to see. So I'm pretty excited.
Okay. Well, James, before I let you go, just a real quick question. Just give me a name out of this entire draft class. What defensive player out of this draft class do you think will make the biggest impact their first year?
The most impact?
The most impact their first year. Who do you think has the most impact out of this entire draft class?
Oh, it's easy. It's Ashton Davis. Easy.
Okay.
Easy.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna see. You're gonna see him do a lot. I think Jet fans are gonna learn to love this kid pretty quick.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you again for calling in, James. I'm gonna let you go. You have a good night, man.
Yeah, you too. Everyone stay safe and good talk. Thank you.
All right. You have a good one.
Thank you.
Man, listen, Jets fans tonight, wheeling and dealing. Okay, we're talking everything. As you could say, again, I want to thank James for calling in. He came in, absolutely spit knowledge. There's a lot of Jets fans that are feeling good about Sam Darnold. I know some are looking at this situation. We've heard about some people saying he's on the clock, but there's a lot of baggage for Sam Darnold. A lot of people saying, hey, this is the year we want to see him take a step, but also we need to see Adam Gase take that step as well. A lot of love for Ashton Davis as well in this draft. This is a kid I think can make quite a bit of impact too. So, man, there's a lot of things that have been done. Joe Douglas wheeled and dealed during this draft, and it seems like this entire fan base is excited. So we're going to keep going to the lines here. They are packed. Listen, 929-477-2651. Call in. Talk to me. I'm the man of the people. I'm here to speak with you folks. I want to hear your take. So now, next up on the line, we got Justin here, man. Justin is a guy that's passionate, and I want to hear him. Go ahead and let him on, prime time.
What's going on, Long Beach?
What's going on, Justin? It's time, baby. The draft has come, gone. You know what I'm saying? We've made our picks. Now, you know, you're the guy that I wanted to talk to. You're the guy I want to speak to. You're always bringing the hot takes. We're going to start. You know what I'm saying? It's a slow process. No need to rush, my guy, okay? This is going to be an easy flight, real smooth, all right? So I want to start at the top with you. Mekhi Becton. Give me your thoughts on it, man.
I'm going to say it all along. I know this. Everyone's going to be like, oh, we should have got Tristan Wirfs. I'm going to say it all along. I said it. We might have to move up to get our lineman that we want. And I think Mekhi Becton was the guy we wanted all along, because there's no way you didn't take this guy after a drug test and then Wirfs is on the board. I think we may have gotten lucky and we may have kept the draft pick. Mekhi Becton may have been his number one guy all along, and I mean, we didn't even have to move up to get him, so I didn't think any of these four guys were going to be available, and two of them were on the board when we picked without giving up a draft pick. That's just to start. I mean, I think Joe Douglas did a great job.
What do you say to some of the fans that kind of thought that Wirfs should have been selected over Becton?
I mean, I get it. He's a little more polished, but I mean, Joe Douglas, that's another great thing Joe Douglas did. He stuck to his mold, and his mold was high ceiling and character guys. I mean, he wanted the guys with the high ceiling. So, I mean, the thing that worries me is we're going to have Coach Gates coach these guys up. He's my X factor of the whole year, how it's going to go. Because I think there's no reason why this team should not be a playoff team. I get it.
Wow. Okay.
I get the nonsense.
Oh,
we have a hard schedule. Oh, we have to travel a lot. No, we filled a ton of holes. I'm going to repeat. We filled a ton of holes. Pass rusher, maybe. We'll see. I mean, I'm not expecting too much from this guy. I want to see how his rehab progresses. I mean, 6 sacks, that's pretty good. I mean, punter, we filled that hole. Cornerback, severely upgraded that whole position as a whole. Offensive line, upgraded there from last year. I think there's no reason why this team should not be a playoff team this year.
Wow. I mean, that's a bold take, Justin, but I hear it. You know, I know some other fans as well. Sticking with Becton, I know that there's a lot of fans that look at him and say he's kind of raw as well. I know you said that, you know, he's going to be a big factor this season. Are you concerned about that? And also, are you concerned about the weight issues that he had in college? Are you concerned about that kind of dragging into the NFL as well?
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not really too concerned about the weight issue. I see a lot of guys coming out of college. They put on weight, but then they get the off-season program with the diets and stuff. I mean, I'm not really too concerned about that, to tell you the truth. I mean, I definitely think that I prefer him just, you know, getting his kinks out this year and, you know, starting him on the left side. I don't want to move him over to the right side. I'd rather just, you know, let him, you know, get the kinks out on the left side and have this whole year just to, you know, get the transition to the NFL. and I rather the right side. I think the steal of the draft for us was Clark, tell you the truth. I think that was maybe our best draft pick.
Well, yeah, and I want to go right there with you as well. You talked about, getting Cameron Clark in the fourth. What do you think he brings to the table? Do you think he's a guy that can compete for that right tackle spot, or are you swinging him inside a guard?
This one's for the George fan haters. We have an out with him this year. So, I mean, Adoga, him, and Clark all battle on that right side. So, you know what? This was an excellent move. I mean, if a guy like Fant doesn't work out, I mean, then you got a guy like Clark that can just, potentially just go in that hole and pretty much patch that hole up if Fant doesn't work out. So that Fant contract, I know a lot of people didn't like it, obviously, you being one of them, but we could get out after that if that one doesn't work out. So, I mean, I think this was our best signing by far in the draft.
Wow. So you think getting Clark in the fourth was better than getting Denzel Mims at 59?
I mean, that's highly debatable, but I mean, you're talking about a starter on your offensive line. I mean, that's obviously
but you're talking about a number one wide receiver. You're talking about a number one wide receiver that most people thought, hey, he's probably going to be gone in the bottom of the first, easily top of the second. Right. And we were able to trade down Justin and still get him.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we could debate that one, but I mean, I think both is. I thought when we traded back, I was thinking, oh my, what are we doing? Because there was no one on the board besides him at receiver.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that one can be debated.
Yeah. So, do you think that he comes in and gives us big impact away? Is he a starting number one wideout for you immediately in Mims?
I'm gonna say it again. I think people sometimes have too much of expectations for rookies. I mean, I definitely, without a doubt, think that he can be it depends how we. See, this is another thing that no one's talking about. We're getting Herndon back. We have Griffin. We have a lot of guys that could be, viable options. I mean, Crowder can see an increased reps if he stays healthy. So, I mean, I'm not putting really a number to it, but I don't see why there's no reason why he can't have 700 or 800 and maybe 7 touchdowns, 7, 8, 6 touchdowns, something like that in his rookie year. I see no reason why that can't happen. I mean, do I see him as 1,000 yards first year? No, absolutely not. But it really depends how the targets go. I mean, I think we have a lot of nice weapons for Sam now, where I think I want to see Sam really take that next step up and become the top 10 quarterback that we really think he's going to be. I think he has no excuses now. I mean, we didn't. I mean, wait, another receiver, but come on.
Yeah, look, and I hear what you're saying, Justin. I think that Sam will be solid this season because I just think he's that talented. But I think to say that we have a lot of weapons, even when you look at that tight end position, I think Griffin's a solid, tight end. But he's had some decent production for us. But everyone talks about Herndon like this guy is just a shoe-in to be like some elite tight end. There's questions with him as well. He was injured the first. Hold on. Yes, there is, because he was injured the first season. The second season, he gets a suspension. He comes off of the suspension. He's injured the rest of the season. How can you say that there's not questions with him when the guy's been injured multiple seasons? We saw flashes. There's been flashes where we've been like, wow, okay, he's made some decent plays, but I don't think there's been enough to be like, yo, this dude is an elite tight end. Yeah. Once he comes back, he's going to be one of the better weapons in the league. I don't see how you can say that because the production doesn't match that.
No, for sure. I 100% agree with that. I mean, I think we're going to have to temper expectations with him. But, I mean, the thing about him that I'm worried about is the injuries. That's what there's no doubt if he can stay healthy. I mean, the thing that excites me about Herndon is him and Mims in the red zone. That's something to get excited about.
Yeah. Like I say, if Herndon can stay, healthy, I think he can definitely, progress, make some moves, make this offense better. But like you said, especially when I looked at Mims, the first thing I said when we got him, he was one of the guys I was excited about pre-draft was that red zone, man. Whew, that was one of the reasons I wanted Pittman as well, but I knew, he wouldn't be there, and he wasn't. But I said, man, the red zone threat with this guy is insane. He's a big guy, big catch radius, got long arms, he can move. So I'm excited about him, and Sam, definitely dialing it up and hitting everything during the season. But I want to get your thoughts on Ashton Davis. I know that there was a lot of talk about that safety pick, man. Where do you think he fits? Because he plays everything, dude.
I said it. I mean, of course, when the draft's going on, you're getting all these texts. Oh, what do you think of this guy? What do you think of that guy? I said it right along. I looked at him. I mean, speed and range, it doesn't matter what position you want to put him at. Speed and range always translate, especially for a guy like Greg Williams. Once I started really looking into it and diving into, this guy's got range. He's a stretch star. He can cover a lot of ground. I mean, then you pair him with a guy like Adams, and, I mean, I want to keep Avery and a guy like, C.J. Mosley. I mean, come on, how can you not get excited? I get it. It wasn't a primary need, but, I mean, I think this guy's going to bring a lot of explosiveness to the defense. I think this guy could be another weapon just for Greg Williams, and you can't really have enough speed and range on a team, on a defense like that, where Greg Williams just, brings guys in and out fresh, third down, second down, bring Marcus May on the field. I mean, I think this is a pretty good pick for us.
Yeah, could you see them all kind of being on the field at the same time, especially in those 3 safety sets that he runs so frequently? Because this guy, I think, is a fit for that, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, 100%. I mean, I think the more people you have on the field with that kind of, ball ability, I mean, I know Marcus May's had, some issues in the past with, getting these interceptions. I can see a guy like Davis. I mean, the guy can intercept the ball, too, and he has some return ability, too. So, I mean, I think it's going to be just excellent for the defense with those 3 guys on the field that can bring them in and out, change it up. I think this just helps. Doesn't hurt.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if this kid could play some corner as well. Like some people are saying, dude, he could be a versatile weapon within this defense. Like you said, Greg Williams, who we saw do a lot with a little. I know every time the offense was brought up, people would just talk about some of the injuries we had at nauseum. There was points during the season where Greg Williams was dealing with a lot of injuries, on the defense, especially with Mosley being out pretty much the whole season. I think outside of like 1 or 2 games, and even the second game that he played, he was extremely hobbled. He shouldn't have even been out there. So he was missing both of his starting interior linebackers and was still able to produce, especially when we had no identified pass rusher either. And that leads me to my next question for you, Justin, is Jabari Zungia, man, coming in out of Florida. A lot of people are looking at him saying he can bring some edge pressure. Do you think he gets us big sacks his first season?
Let's talk about the cornerback position. I mean, another great thing that I think Joe Douglas did was Quincy Wilson for a 6th-round pick. I mean, that's very low risk. I mean, the scheme didn't really fit him in Indianapolis. So, I mean, I like him in a press corner situation. I mean, he instantly brings you, some experience to that cornerback position with our guys. We don't know. We have a little bit of younger guys, Millette, Bless hasn't seen that much. So, I mean, I think that's an excellent move. I think he could be potentially the opposite with Pierre Desir. I mean, come on. I mean, he's better for our team than he was with the Colts with a down year, but, I mean, he's still 23 years old. I think this might have been one of his best moves, making that trade too.
Yeah, I don't think that was a bad trade at all. You take a 7th round, take a flyer on a guy, with the 200th and 11th pick. You take a flyer on a guy and see if he can work out here. He's a 2nd-round guy. Like another guy out of Florida. Maybe he can come in and give us something, especially there at that, that second quarterback spot. Like I'm talking about, it's still open. There's still a need there, so maybe he could come in and provide us with some type of production, like Pierre Desir is probably going to do, especially with him being our number 1 corner at this point. But if you want to stick to corner, Justin, I'm ready to go there with you because Bryce Hall out of Virginia, a lot of people are saying, man, this dude is going to be something else. And we got a steal in the 5th, man. What are your thoughts about him?
I mean, they linked us to him all along. I mean, we were meeting with this guy a lot. So, I mean, this guy, he's got some skill, and he elevates, too. You were talking about Mims elevating. I mean, this guy elevates and gets the ball, too, on the defense. I think this guy could be a steal, too. I think Joe Douglas knocked it out of the park with these value picks. I think that was a big thing that he did good on. I think that was an excellent move, too. I mean, that's to be seen. He might be like a 3rd down, 4 safety look, 3 safety look. I mean, he might be groomed a little bit more, but I mean, I think he has a pretty good ceiling.
Yeah, I think he does as well, but I think the big question about him, again, is the injuries. We're still wondering if that ankle can hold up, but if that ankle can hold up, we got a guy that might be able to produce, but a guy that I think was, kind of a head-scratcher for some fans was the selection of James Morgan. People are like, this early, we take a quarterback in the 4th? I mean, Justin, is that a pick that you liked as well? He can come in, compete with Fales, see if he can get the backup position. Do you think that we should have taken maybe, another position of need over drafting Morgan?
I'm gonna be honest with you. This is probably the one pick where I get it though. I mean, he's gonna push Sam a little bit, but I would have liked to maybe see us, maybe around later draft him. I think it was a little bit of a reach, but I'm not complaining because we definitely needed a backup with some experience. So I mean, I'm not. I totally don't hate it, but I would have waited a little bit for that one.
Yeah, like I said, I looked at the draft, and when I was watching, I saw that name come across, and I was like, I mean, I get it. You definitely want a guy to come in there and compete. And like I said, I understand, Joe is saying, hey, you better make sure you have a solid backup QB in the wings, a guy that can step up in case, things go haywire. Sam may get hurt, knock on wood. But I was like, man, I wish we would get another wide receiver because I think we need one, especially with the guys. Look, I understand Dotson's here and, Brashad Perryman, but those guys are 2 first-round busts. I need a young guy, especially with this deep as this draft was at wide receiver. I wanted to get another young guy to get in here and really give us some speed. I mean, what are your thoughts about us only drafting one wideout in the draft?
Yeah, that's a little bit. I'm a little bit concerned because I mean the guy from Liberty was dropping a little bit. There was guys on the board that definitely would have helped Sam. So I mean, I definitely would have liked to get another receiver, but I mean this undrafted kid that we got, apparently he might be a sleeper to make the roster. I'm reading up on him a little bit. Another big body receiver. So I mean, we're just gonna have to see what happens with that one.
Yeah. And when you look at our running back position, was able to get in P. Ryan as well in the 4th. He's got to catch the football coming out the backfield. He's a mover. He can really scoot. I mean, what do you think he brings to the table for the offense? And could you see, because I kind of looking at the situation, could you foresee Adam Gase kind of using him maybe even more than Le'Veon Bell, kind of how he used Bilal Powell, gave him more snaps and more carries than Bell? Could you see that happening this season?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you on that one. I would have liked to have seen Anthony McFarland picked out of Maryland, but I can see it. He can compliment Bell, but I don't know. I mean, I'd much rather see Bell get the touches than Anthony McFarland. I think they were more of a 1-2 punch. They complement each other better. So when using him instead of Bell, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, look, I hear you. I'm right there with you, but I remember the issues that we went through last season where there was a game where it was the Bengals, where Le'Veon Bell didn't get many carries, and then the next game, you got Bilal Powell in, and Adam Gase just fed him, and it was like, what's going on here? Why are you feeding back? Which Bilal Powell was a solid back, but Le'Veon Bell was the bell cow guy, and we were playing with the worst rushing defense in the league, and you didn't feed this guy. It was like, what's going on? And so maybe P. Ryan again, Gase being there, might be more of a Gase guy. We might see that head kind of, rear again here. So I'm just wondering. But I got another question for you, Justin. With all that we're going on, with the COVID and all these things and training camp not being there, OTAs might possibly be canceled as well. How important do you think coaching is going to become to get these guys up to speed, especially with all this stuff that they might be missing?
I mean, see, that's another thing. That's why I think a guy like Avery Williamson is to having a guy that already knows what to do and has already been through it. I mean, opposed to a younger guy, I think it favors veterans. Training, like making the team favors veterans. So I mean, everyone's so close. Oh, Avery Williamson, let's cut him. Let's save the $7.5 million. Let's upgrade our cornerback. But I'm leaning towards keeping a guy like Avery Williamson. I think that's going to be a big thing for these rookies. I mean, they're going for they're going to have no types of training, no camaraderie, throwing even with shorts. I mean, I think that's going to be a big thing. I mean, the coaching is going to have to be a big thing to speed us up. That's where I don't know if that's where you got a guy like Coach Gase where let's go. He needs to do it now, or that's it. He's got to get out of here. I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
Bottom line now, it's put up or shut up time for Coach Gase. I mean, there's no excuses. I mean, I get it. Oh, we brought in new guys, blah, blah, blah. No, period. He needs to produce, and he has to coach these guys up, improve his game management and all that. I don't want to see any excuse for this guy.
Yeah. And I'm right there with you, Justin. I want to also get your thoughts on this 6th-round pick, man, Braden Mann. I know there were some fans that were looking like, punter, they didn't really understand. What are your thoughts on that, man?
I mean, I'm not, you can't complain. I get it. It's a punter. But guess what? I would have liked to gone and got a kicker, too, because we know kicking is horrible. But, I mean, you filled the hole. We didn't have one under contract, and apparently this guy's supposed to be can kick directionally and all that. So you know what? A punter throws the hole in the 6th round. It's a no-brainer for me. It's another check in the positions we needed. So anyone that's mad about drafting a punter is just I don't get that, because I think that was another good pick, and we filled the hole. If you're filling holes, that's all you can ask for. That's all you can ask for at this moment. You can only build this class maybe in 2 or 3 years. The only thing you can get is filling holes, and that's what we did. So a punter right there in that scenario, I think that's a great move.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I thought it was a solid move, especially when it's looking like he was the best punter in the class, and there was a need there. And again, I keep talking to people about, hey, special teams, that swing, being able to pin a team within the 10, especially with the defense that we had last year, which was solider than Greg Williams, that's going to be huge. Getting that solid field position is really going to help our defense. It's really going to help our team. Hell, it could win us games. It honestly could, but I want to get your thoughts on some of the undrafted free agents as well, Justin. I know people are absolutely in love with Lawrence Cager from Georgia, Lamar Jackson as well, the corner from Nebraska. I mean, how are you feeling about some of the undrafted free agents we were able to bring in? Do you have any guys that you think can really compete and make the roster?
I'm going to be honest with you. For those type of guys, you need to see a lot out of them. So, I mean, I'm not as hyped I'm not as buying into this crap like everyone else. They read too much into it, right? For those guys, I want to see they're going to have to flash. I mean, if we have training camps, they're going to have to flash a lot. Their margin of error is very small. So I'm not so sold on, this Lamar Jackson kid. And Cager is an interesting one because I like his big body for Sam. That, of course, that would help. Pair that with Mims and these other tight ends we got, and Crowder across the middle. That's an intriguing one, but I just got to see with those guys. I'm not really too about the hype. I need to see them really produce during training camp. I mean, it's just a little bit of a hype thing now with those guys. I mean, they got a lot to learn.
Yeah, and I'll agree with you there. I think they do. I think Cager is a guy that I think, has some talent on him. I think he's a guy that can really compete and really has a possibility to make the roster again there at wide receiver. I also think Lamar Jackson has a chance, but you hit one of the nails on the head is you're going to have to see quite a bit out of those guys. And where you would see a lot of those guys is training camp, OTA, stuff like that. And if that stuff is canceled and doesn't happen, I don't know if these guys are going to be able to show a lot of stuff. Because we've seen in the past where, there were guys that were, I remember Greg Dortch was one of those guys. We were all excited about Greg Dortch. Wasn't able to stick around, and he had all those things where we would see things. McBride, I remember one year we were extremely excited about, wasn't able to stick around because I guess the coaching staff may have not have felt that they had seen enough. And so with all those things possibly canceled this year, depending on what happens with the season, I mean, how can these guys get their looks? Where can we see these guys really in action and going? Because that's where they would really, figure out, hey, this is a guy that can stick around and can't stick around. But, Justin, what are your thoughts when you look at this draft class, man, you look at this situation? What offensive player drafted do you think will be able to come in and get the most immediate impact?
Offensive player, I mean, that's a pretty easy one. You got to say Mims. Mm-hmm. I think offensively Mims.
You think Mims over Becton? I mean, Becton is probably going to be your starting left tackle. That's about as much impact. If he fails, it's over. Yeah. So I hear you with Mims, but you don't think Becton?
I don't know. That's a tricky one because, I mean, offensive line is kind of hard. I mean, offensive line, that's the thing. Like, it's not the sexy pick, but, I mean, it's really, you get the run game, the pass protection. So, yeah, I guess it is Becton. I mean, it's kind of tossed up Becton and Mims. I mean, you can go either one of those, I guess, because, I mean, Becton really impacts you no matter what you do. So, yeah, I guess Becton, maybe Mims. It's a toss-up, flip a coin.
Yeah. Who do you think is the steal of the draft, Justin?
Clark?
Okay. I see you're big on Clark. I am as well, and I want to get your thoughts as well on people saying that Sam Darnold is on the clock now. What are your thoughts about some people trying to build pressure on Sam this season and really have a out-of-this-world season?
I'm going to be honest with you, though. He does need to have does need to have a big jump, but, I mean, pressure on him, I think, if anything, it's the least pressure because he actually has some guys that can actually help him. So, I mean, I think it's going to be really natural, that jump. It's really not going to be – he's really not going to feel the pressure. I think it's just going to be a natural jump of him getting some guys that can actually catch the football and, block for him. I don't think it's really too much of a pressure on him type of thing. But I do want to see him take a big jump in this next year.
Okay. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing him taking that next jump as well. I'm just worried about Adam Gase, man, and I think that the pressure is there for me with Gase. It's like, dude, I need to see you be a better play caller. Period. Before anything else, I need to see you understand situations within the game and be able to make adjustments before I start talking about, hey, I need to see Sam Darnold, throw however many, 40 touchdowns or whatever this season, some crazy number. I need to see you put this guy in position to be able to make plays. I need to see you make adjustments. I need to see you understand situational awareness, situational football, and make the right calls when need be, because, again, a lot of times this season we saw him falter in those situations, and honestly, it wasn't even like an excuse, because some of those games that we played and we lost, they were against rookie head coaches, that were coming. The Bengals got a rookie head coach. I think it's Zach Taylor. This guy came in and outcoached Adam Gase. Brian Flores with the Dolphins outcoached Adam Gase. There were so many guys we talked about this year that outcoached Adam Gase. I mean, to me, Justin, the pressure is on him. I mean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think this is, let's just call it what it is. The guy that we had, you said who's going to make a big jump in his first year. Let's just call it what it is. Yeah, our team is going to go as far as Adam Gase takes us, period. End of story. It's not Sam. It's not the offensive line. It's not Le'Veon. It's Coach Gase.
Yeah. I mean, if Gase falters, there's going to be major issues. Well, Justin, listen, man, you absolutely spit your take. You spit your knowledge, man. You know your Jets absolutely backwards and forwards, man. And so before I let you go, man, my last question for you is, give me your grade for this draft under Joe Douglas.
Yeah, I think the draft stuff's a little the grade for Joe Douglas is. I think you really can't really grade right now. I think these mock drafts, these grades are a little, you can't really grade until year 3, but if I gave a grade, I'd probably say B+ if I had to.
Okay, a B+. Is there a player that you wish would have been taken instead of, a certain guy that we took on the board? I mean, was there a player that you thought was still out there?
If I said probably another receiver, but I'm cool with it. It's fine. I think he did a good enough job.
Okay. All right. Well, Justin, man, thank you for coming on. It was great talking to you. Thank you for calling in. And you have a good night, man.
Yes, sir. Get your Becton jerseys, guys. Get them ready.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Listen, Justin calling in with fire, absolute blazing, man. What a show. As we wrap things up here, man, we've had great Jets fans calling in, spitting their passion. A lot of people talking about the team, a lot of people talking about the draft class. Everybody's excited. Everybody's excited about a lot of the picks that we've made, particularly Mekhi Becton, which I think was a big-time pick here. We needed that guy to step in at left tackle. We needed the guy to protect Sam, and here's the guy that is. He's going to step in, and I'm hoping that he can really make a big-time impact this year. I know people are talking about he's a little bit raw, but, man, this guy, once he refines some things, I'm telling you, he's going to be a mauler. He's such a huge man. Once he gets his hands on you, it's a Rizzy wrap for you. It's over, all right? Even going down the board from Mims, Ashton Davis, who I thought was a great pick, Zungil, who I think will be able to be all right if he can stay healthy. There's so many guys in this draft class that filled so many needs on this team, man. I'm just really, really hoping that we can move forward, and these guys will absolutely flourish here because there's just so many needs. And, again, this is all about Darnold. A lot of these picks here, particularly our first two, is all about making him better, man. So I'm hoping these guys, again, could come in and get some impact, because if Gase steps up, if these guys are able to hold up, man, it's going to do nothing but bode well for Sam. But so with that said, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Listen, I'm the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote our Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search Let's Talk Jets Radio. Like that page. Our content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message us. We'll message you right back. We love going back and forth with folks about this football team. Also leave some feedback. We love hearing about what you folks think we do here on Let's Talk Jets Radio. I'm also on Twitter as well at YoungJ000. That's 3 zeros. Go ahead and follow me. I'll follow you right back. You want to troll me? No issues. I am the troll that lives under the bridge, and I will have my Darnold jersey on. I hope he's thoroughly protected this season so that jersey stays clean, you know what I'm saying? But I'll have it on, and I'll troll you right back, no issues. I'm also on YouTube as well at YoungJ00. That's 2 zeros on YouTube, 3 on Twitter. I talk about the Jets. I do videos. Go ahead and subscribe to my content on there as well. And if you want to troll me on there as well, folks, no issues. I will troll you right back all day long. Comment, and we can go back and forth in the comments. And as always, people, when you see me in person, okay, it is arms out, chest open, free hugs for everyone. Man, it must be the ghost of Christmas past. What's going on around here? You know what I'm saying? I see Primetime is hating from the stands. There's no need for that, man. You know what I'm saying? We done had a smooth show, baby. I done connected with the people where everybody's just spreading the love. Everybody's hugging everybody. What's going on, man? You don't need to hate from the sidelines, man. No need for that. Let the love fill your heart, all right? Now, listen, you cannot take me away from the people. The hugs are absolutely free. When people see me in person, it is arms out, chest open, free hugs for everyone, okay? The hugs will cost you absolutely nothing. I want to thank you folks for taking your time out of your days to listen and call in. You folks are the absolute best. Without you people, we are absolutely nothing. Thank you again for taking your time out of your day to call in and listen as well. You folks have a good one. Peace.